The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program host and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by TCN TV Network Incorporated. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. The TCN TV Network claims no rights to the said content. TCN TV Network cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. TCN TV Network is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this program.
Don't know about you, but through Christ I can do all. Stand up tall with my left foot, post up on the wall. Easy if we fall in the streets, life can get hard. Streets used to be a lot different from what man recall. Me a aim for my post like a soccer ball. Still run the road that don't need a map at all. Babylon them want to hold me with a strap at all. But man a lion, me no Cancer nor Capricorn.
Though they want to see me fall, I'm gonna be okay. Though my back's against the wall, I'm gonna be okay. They fighting me now, I'm gonna be okay. Jehovah eyes are watching me now, I'm gonna be okay.
Welcome to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we have some lovely guests from John Howard Society of Ontario. We have
Christin Cullen, John Howard Society of York Region, Executive Director.
And we have
Safiyah Husein, Policy Analyst at the John Howard Society of Ontario Center for Research and Policy.
that's a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
So we have today we're going to talk about a lot of social issues and public awareness. So if you're a student or a person that's caught up in the justice system or one who want to learn more, today's the day. This is the episode. So let's get into a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit more of what you do. I see you bearing gifts. Let's see what we have.
Got you some stuff to read there.
Okay. So let me start with you, Christin. Talk to me about John Howard Society.
Okay. Well, John Howard Society is an organization that exists all across Canada. We have 60 offices in Canada, and in Ontario we have 19 local offices and a provincial office. Our local offices, we do programming and services, and our provincial office does research, policy, and evaluation work.
Okay, so you're over in the provincial.
Yes.
Okay, so we have some gifts. Let me see what we got. Can we get some of the photos up? All right, so let's start. Just dive in.
Sure. Well, just to give a bit of a background, so at our Center for Research and Policy, we carry out research around criminal justice issues and policy submissions, so recommendations to decision makers about how to improve in some of these areas. So this is up on the screen right now is from our report called Invisible Burden, and it looked at police records and employment and the barriers to employment for people with criminal records in Toronto specifically.
Yes. So we see some numbers up there. Let's talk about the 50%.
Yeah, so 50% of, through our surveys and our research, we found that 50% of employers conduct police background checks for all positions as sort of a blanket requirement. And some of these other stats show how prevalent it is for employers to actually conduct police record checks. 64% of employers reported having a positive police background check in the last year.
Wow.
So that means a lot of people a lot of people with records are going through and seeking employment as they should be, and so employers are having experience with people with police records. So that's why it's important to have education around that issue.
Right, right. This is a good topic of discussion. Go back back because I still want to get everything that's on that screen. We have 30%. What is it talking about this right here?
So 30% of non-for-profit organizations said they do not provide volunteer opportunities to people with police records.
Right. So I'm gonna stop you right there because I work with a lot of youth that are offenders, right? And this young man, he had a criminal record and he was not able to participate with the school. You know, they do placement, and he was not able to get placement anywhere, right? So he reached out to me, and I said, of course, you have a record, the more the merrier, because that's what I deal with, right? Those with records, but we offer them. So those statistics is very harsh. So the encouragement to these young ones is to listen, stay away from crime, is get out of that lifestyle as soon as possible. You know, the revolving door is like so alive and vibrant right now. Like you're getting caught up. People with small charges go to jail and learn more. You know what I mean? It's like almost like a recruitment. It's like an institution because a lot of people, not everybody have serious charges. Some people have petty charges, but then now they get caught up into a certain lifestyle and now they're stuck. And then the discharge stick with them, and then you can't get placement. You want to get your life together. I have another young girl coming to me, hopefully. She had a record as well. I mean, those are the records that are coming to me, but it's not a lot of us that there to say, okay, we give you placement so that you can finish school or get your life back on track, because people is a red flag for organization, and you can't blame them, right? It is a red flag. Why would I want to take this person? But we have to give them a chance. One thing I say a lot is that these people that are committing crimes are going to come back to society, whether it's a small crime or a big one. What are we going to do? You know what I mean? So we have to have some plans. But today is about awareness, information, because if you don't know, you get caught up. And, even me, because I was on the streets once upon a time, not long ago, no, long ago. But a long time ago when I was a young boy getting caught up in some stuff. But if I wasn't brought to a different reality and my mind didn't open up, I would be stuck in a whole different path. So right now our goal is to now inform them, let them know their rights, let them know what's out there, statistic, how hard it is to get back on your feet. So let's go back to another to the next slide and talk about it. 4 million.
So 4 million Canadians have a record of criminal conviction, so a criminal record, and that's an approximation. And this slide is really just showing how prevalent police records are in Ontario and in Canada in general. So this is something that affects a lot of people. A lot of people do have police records, and that's why it's really important to have strong rights respecting, informed policies and education around police records so that they aren't a huge barrier to employment and volunteer opportunities.
So it looks like, so it's 1 out of every 9?
Yeah.
That is crazy. 1 out of every 9 have a criminal record.
Yeah, approximately.
Approximately,
so,
right.
And as you can see, there's some other numbers there. Over 64,000 findings of guilt, over the course of a certain year. So that means a lot of people every year are going through the court system and they're being found guilty of various offenses, and so they're adding to the numbers of people with police records in Canada. And so it's an issue that affects a lot of people, and it's a growing number of people. So that's why it's really important to be informed about it.
Right. That is very crazy. But it just seemed like it doesn't seem wishful or hopeful. It seems like everybody's just in trouble for the most part. 1 out of every 9 person have a record. So what are we doing? For a policy analysis. Analyst, sorry. A policy analyst. What do you do specifically? How do you address these issues? I know there's research, but give me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So through my job specifically at the Center for Research and Policy, we carry on this research so that we have information, and then we also bring that to decision makers. We put forward recommendations about things that we can be doing to improve on some of these issues. We carry out public education work. Work with stakeholders, coalition members, and so we're really trying to bring about change and to bring about public awareness about criminal justice issues like police records and many other criminal justice issues.
Okay. So for you now, you're like an executive director, so you're You oversee. Tell me a little bit more who you oversee directly.
A local office in York Region.
Yes.
So we offer services anywhere from like Markham, Richmond Hill, right up to Georgina, Keswick, Lake Simcoe. And so, yeah, we have programming there, and we are very focused right now on the police records component because it is affecting a lot of people that we serve. And so I wrote an op-ed recently, which I think is one of the reasons why you contacted me.
That's correct.
And
That's correct.
That op-ed,
Put it back up.
it came out of the need for drawing attention to some of the resources that we have. So one of the free resources that we have at John Howard, Ontario is this Police Record Hub, and it's a website here for individuals and employers. And it just kind of gives documents and information about criminal records. And it's free and online. It's up there on the screen right now. So that was kind of the point of that article, was to bring attention to the issue and bring attention to this resource that we have.
Okay, so viewers, I need you to check out this website because this is where you get all the information. We can't cover everything in one sitting, but we're going to try our best to give you a lot of information. But there are some social media links as well, but the website is the main thing that you can go to get a lot of information. So we'll be back after the short few messages. Hope in the 6.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome to Hope in the 6. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez.
We are the North. We are the strong and free. Love is our symphony. The city beats inside of me. Lift every voice. Let it be heard and seen. Love is our symphony. Toronto beats inside of me.
My name is Shola Olamokwa. I'm the founder of Director Life, and I'm Hope in the 6.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm the streaming services lawyer, and I am Hope in the 6.
Police Constable Dale Smith, aka Smith, and I am.
My name is Jason Farkason, and I'm a youth worker, and I am Hope in the 6.
Second, I am Hope in the 6. I'm Cameron, and I'm Hope in the 6. My name is Ramsey, and I'm Hope in the 6.
We are Toronto, united we stand hand to hand. Let's go, 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 go.
Once you are released from incarceration, you're reeling from all the changes in your life. Our center has a grasp on a lot of the challenges that are being faced, so we want people to know that our center is open to help you. There's nothing like experience. Unless you have actually lived it for yourself, you don't really grasp all the elements that are there. When an individual is released from Toronto South, they may need to get a safe bed for the evening, or they may need to get to court. They might not know the city, or they just might need some company, or they might need someone to back them up. We ensure that that individual gets to their destination safely, so we kind of seal the deal with an accompaniment.
Welcome back to Hope in the 6. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and we have two lovely guests from John Howard Society of Ontario, Safiyah and Christin. So I want to talk about that little clip you've seen, reintegration, that's stationed out of in front of Toronto South. That's all not everybody is aware of other services that you do, but speak to the matter of the reintegration services and what else you also have to offer.
Yeah, okay. So reintegration is offered by most John Howard societies across Ontario. Basically, it's a service that helps people return home to their communities after they've been in the institution.
Right.
So there's a lot to be done when you come home. I think you got to figure that if you've been away for a long time, that could be even things like figuring out where the nearest grocery store and bus stops are now, right? Everything might have moved.
Right.
And then it's other things like just finding shelter for the night, getting tickets so you could get around town on the bus, getting your ID, your medication, connection, social connection with people, and employment. So we try to do that at all of our offices, and what they're doing in Toronto is really amazing. They have a reintegration center right outside of the South Detention.
Right.
But yeah, most people know us for that work. Most people know John Howard Society for the work we do with people coming out of the prison system, but we actually do so much more to promote community safety and well-being in our local communities. We have programs for youth and adults, people who are, at risk of involvement in the criminal justice system or are in it. Right?
Okay, so do you have preventative programs as well? That's what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, we have preventative programs in some of our schools in our communities as well.
And if anybody want to find out about more information about that, that's the website?
Yeah.
It breaks down all this?
Yeah, our main website, the John Howard Society of Ontario website will have all of our services across the province. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back over to you.
Sure.
All right, cool. I gotta divide. My attention. I gotta divide my attention.
Fair.
But because you brought me a lot of information. So let's put up another slide. We have another slide that we want to address. Let's talk about this briefly, I guess.
Sure. So this is just some of the other resources that we have on the policerecordhub.ca. The site has resources for employers, for individual with police records. And so this is some of the information that we have about understanding what type of information can be on police records. It's not just criminal convictions. There's other information that can show up. And then we have other documents about how to read a criminal record, how to understand that. So that can be useful for individuals who need assistance in understanding their own record, or also for employers and other employment services to help individuals understand their records and to help make informed decisions about potential candidates.
Okay. What we have any more?
Yeah, this is our resource on how to read a criminal record. So it gives. They all look different. If you go around the province, different police services, you might get a record that looks slightly different. Right. But generally, this is the information that's on there included. And so it kind of points to each section and breaks it down. So that's helpful to understand that a little bit, because it can be really confusing.
Okay. All right. So you guys, all right. So you gave me some more stuff too. So this is like a law library or something like that. But this is very good. So this is a fact sheet. Right, it says solitary confinement. Let's talk about that a bit.
Sure. So, as I mentioned at the Ontario office, we have public education and research reports available on our website as well. And the fact sheets are meant to provide the public with information about issues within the criminal justice system. So we have one on solitary confinement, or otherwise called segregation, and just explaining what it is, some of the issues with it, and some of our recommendations or our position on that as well.
Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit about it. It says the common perception of solitary confinement or segregation is that it is an extreme measure only used for the most dangerous and uncontrollable incarcerated individuals. The reality in Ontario, however, is that the practice is widespread and the law places few limits on its use. Prolonged solitary confinement has been called a form of torture. So that's the based on research. That's what you come up with. Is the form of torture. Torture, because it's not only because there's one thing when you're saying you're gonna punish somebody or discipline. A correctional institute is pretty much like disciplining, right? Yeah. But this says torture. So now we go into another realm of what is your perspective on it? This is the research you came up with, or just the organization on a whole?
So this is research that we conducted at the center, and so specifically talking about how prolonged solitary confinement is considered torture. That comes from the UN, so that's sort of an international standard. And the practice of solitary confinement, it's often thought of as a form of discipline within correctional facilities, but oftentimes what we've found and others have found is that it's widely used. Right. And there's a number of people that are placed in solitary confinement, which means without meaningful contact for at at least 22 hours a day,
Right.
Confined to their cells, and they're not able to access programming. Sometimes they're not able to access the phones to connect with families or personal connections outside of the institution. Sometimes the lights are kept on for 24 hours a day. There might not be any natural light. And so it's definitely causes a lot of psychological harm and can prevent people from accessing the programs that they need to be able to succeed both within the institution and when they get out.
Right. When I used to be a correctional officer years ago, and when somebody was like suicidal, we would take like their beds and everything. So now they're in a cold cell with the AC. If it's summertime, the AC's going, and they give them something like a donut, something to wrap around them. But it's just so weird to me. I never understood that. But the measures that the criminal justice system or the institutions do to prevent or to punish is kind of unusual to me, right? So I'm reading this now. It says, in the case of 2016 Ontario case of Adam Capay, an indigenous man held in segregation over 1,500 days. Wow. And with 24-hour light suggests how even advanced correctional systems can use solitary confinement in harmful and unstrained ways. So that this now can become cruel and unusual punishment, right? And like the show is not to like knock how people do things, but it's also to bring awareness. For the most part, I don't want to be locked up to be in a situation like that, right? But it shouldn't exist in the first place as well. So we have to now figure out ways to do things different, because what's been done, unfortunately, is not working. You know what I'm saying? The numbers are increasing. Everything look like it's getting worse. So in your research, you come up with information, but now and you let it be known to society and stuff like that. But is there solution based?
Yeah, I think what we aim to do is definitely highlight some of the issues. And when it comes to solitary confinement, healthcare within correctional facilities, we're really looking at ensuring that correctional facilities are safe for both the staff that work there and the individuals that are there serving their time or they're on remand.
Right.
And so it's trying to come up with solutions that could benefit everybody and really promote community safety. And so by highlighting this, we're generally trying to cause awareness towards these issues, and then we do have recommendations that we put forward to decision makers as well.
Right. And what I do know is the revolving door, not the revolving door, but the turnover rate as far as officers in correctional institutions are very high. So what you have now as a result, you have a lot of lockdowns. I do a lot of visits and they're locked down and all these things. So now the increased number of lockdowns, that's why the courts give them extra time for, when they're locked down, but it's still cruel because you're being locked down so much in excess, right? You're already doing time. So you lock down, can't come out. Regular basic rights are not honored, of course, but we understand because of the shortage, but there's a lot of burnout. But this now caused another level of stress and reaction from the people, because recently, what made me think of it is recently there was a riot in Toronto South, right? And a lot of officers were attacked, and I know some inmates that were involved as well. So it's a stress level, and when I was a correctional officer, when they lock down, for like certain amount, like say a guy didn't work, an officer didn't show up. There's not enough officers to open the doors. They were locked down, but the inmates would throw their toilet tissue out the little small square, and guess what happened? The whole dorm is a big mess. They throw their stuff out, and it's just like a mess because they were like fed up. So I don't know really the exact cause for the riot recently, but there's some people are fed up. I know it has to do with lockdown. But we got to go to a break. Thanks for coming. We got a lot to talk about. Social issues and public awareness. Open to 6. We'll be back after these few messages.
With so many newspapers within the community, it's sometimes hard to tell what separates us from the rest. Most of the time, they all brag about the same thing. The large circulations, tons of online views, and it can go on and on. But what really separates the Toronto Caribbean newspaper apart from everybody else? Well, it's simple. Our service. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Grant Browning, founder and CEO of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. I have over 20 years of branding and marketing experience, and I've worked with countless companies and corporations to do one thing, and that is to raise their profits with their brand. With over 40 years of combined experience in branding and marketing, our amazing staff is fully prepared to sit down and figure out exactly what you need to stand out from your competitors.
The reason why you don't see that anymore is because
the ad is too powerful, bring too much people.
So what are you waiting for? Give us a call today. We'll be happy to help.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we have two lovely guests from John Howard Society. Yes, Safiyah and Christin. So right now, we just seen those little, you seen the little clip of the jail. I always read either inmates' letters or news article called Cell Count. It says for prisoners, ex-prisoners, and their families, and now the audience as well. They get to hear what these young men and women are saying from behind bars. So I want to read a little clip. It says the values behind restorative justice by Michael Hector. My fellow sentient beings, my name is Michael Hector, and not too long ago I was asked to write a little something about restorative justice. Not an easy task for someone who has the affinity I have for the process and all it brings to every table it has been ever invited to. It is my hope that it will be at least a 3-part series on restorative justice, and in doing so, it will greaten its restorative justice audience overall. Now let's see. First of all, you might wonder what are my qualifications might be to expound on this particular subject. I have taken it upon myself to become involved in restorative justice by first helping to bring restorative justice group to Stony Mountain Institution about 6 years ago. I was an inmate in the prison at that time, and was asked by a gentleman at John Howard Society to help put a group together. And although I didn't know anything about it at the time, I was intrigued by the original pitch. I was told that one of the main goals of the program was to bring inmates and community members together in a pay-it-forward type program. I couldn't know at the time what a tremendous impact the group and program would have on me and my overall perceptions, yes. I think it is important to mention that the funding for the group ran out before the group could really get any genuine traction, but it did inspire, at the very least, me. I am serving a life sentence for the murders of 3 people, and yes, I owe a debt that I couldn't possibly ever repay, but I have learned through restorative justice that I must at least try. So I'm gonna stop right there because there's a lot to read, but wow, that's powerful. It's a necessity because people are locked up, people have done very vicious crimes as this man has done, and he says, but you have to, some people are never getting out, but like I said, there are some people that will be coming back. So if you don't have these type of things in motion or in play, I'm afraid of what society is going to look like, right? So we really have to focus, and I love what you guys are doing because you're helping the process. But just to speak to the matter of restorative justice, there any views? Do you deal with that at all as far as John Howard Society? Any restorative justice process piece, or that's not really your?
A lot of our offices do restorative.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about criminal justice generally. know about restorative processes and the healing that needs to take place for people, especially when a crime has been committed.
Okay. So, what about you? What are your views in regards to the letter? This what was just read, right? Because I want you guys to comment, and thank you for your comment. Because these guys are behind bars and they go through things, and they're invited. This guy was invited by John Howard Society in particular, so of course they're doing it, right? But anyway, so yes. But we have to figure out now what can we do to like really make a difference. So this guy was invited, and they said funding is a big piece, right? Because a lot of things people get funding, and funding runs out. Government don't see the value in certain things, so they can't get the money to rekindle it or to even finish it. So unfortunately, this guy said funding went out. So that's one problem that probably we need to tap into, right? Funding, how to maintain funding. Because now, if that was something that inspired him, as he said, how much more if it was to go through the full process and get to the end of their goal, their objective, right? So just hearing that, I know I don't want to be politically correct or nothing like that, because I know what the type of organization you work for, but hearing a person now, and this is just personal perspective, not the views of your organization now. This is kind of personal. We get personal a little bit as well, right? So not the views of your organization, not the views of John Howard Society. So personally, how do you feel now, one now who's probably committed a violent crime now perhaps have to confront the victim or something? What's your views on that? Do you see any positive results in that or negative? What do you think about that?
I think so. Some of the pieces of restorative justice around taking responsibility for your actions and acknowledging the harm that you caused.
Right.
I think it's important in terms of healing communities, healing the people, the victims that were involved, and ensuring sort of working on a process of rehabilitation for the person who perpetrated those crimes as well. Because I think, as we know, a huge number of people that enter our criminal justice system are not going to be in correctional institutions for their whole life.
Right.
The median time is a matter of days. And so a lot of people go in and out, and it's important to be able to look at how we can focus on rehabilitation so that these individuals can reintegrate back into society and get the supports that they need to really help our communities thrive.
So, okay, take me in a day in the life of research. Like, how do you set up for research? What, like, just break it down a little bit. Like, you're going to get into research about this topic, that topic. I don't know what topic, but just any topic. How that looks? Tell me about it a little bit.
Sure. Well, a lot of the research that we conduct at the Center for Research and Policy at the provincial office, it comes from the information that we gather from our local offices.
Okay.
So at the local offices, they're the ones that are working frontline with individuals who are, involved with the criminal justice system and understanding those issues. And so oftentimes they'll come to us and say, we're seeing this issue over and over again. This might be something that maybe it would be helpful if we have, a research paper on it, if we have more information on this, if we're advocating for change in this area. And so that kind of informs our work. So we look at an issue, and then what we try to do is gather information on it. Sometimes, like in Invisible Burden, we conduct surveys. We try to get as much information as we can put together. And then we work on recommendations and policy submissions and things like that to really engage with decision makers about how to create actual change.
Okay, so then pretty much after you get all the information, you present it to the government, pretty much okay. Yeah. I was actually sitting in City Hall approximately 2 weeks ago, and actually a guy from John Howard Society was there, coincidence, but you guys are working for sure then, you know what I mean? But we were actually specifically talking about, in regards to the invisible burden piece, the employment. We had a lot of people from social services there sitting down, and we were trying to figure out a way to like awareness and actually how to respond and how to navigate. But it's very challenging because for me it wasn't really concrete solutions at the time, and I think that's why we were gathered to the table to now throw out ideas. So when the research come involved, the information in regards to the statistics is very important. But I just hope that we could really come up with some solid information, to say what can be done, How now, then is this a little scenario now? Say I was involved in the criminal justice system, and now my odds for getting a job or employment is decreasing, because of my record. what do I do? How do I move forward? You know, I'm asking for some advice now, so help me out with all the research and all the experience. You know, what would you tell me now as an individual? You know, how can I navigate?
So you're in the institution, right?
Yep,
Okay.
I'm out now. I'm a free man,
Oh,
but I'm trying to get a job. I'm free man. I got my suit on and everything. But when that resume come before somebody, or the record, not the resume, because the resume probably is okay, because I probably had good education or something. Something it was okay, but it's the record that's the problem. What now? The record come before you, you know.
I think you make a really good point. We have to put a lot of the research work that we do into practice, and that's where our offices complement each other really well. Is that we'll do the practical side of things that Safiyah and the team at John Howard
Okay.
we can put it into work. So if you came out into the community and you needed support because you need a job, you need to get your life moving forward again, I would say you go to the local John Howard Society because there's one pretty much in every city.
Okay.
And there you're going to get support with all kinds of things. You're going to get support with your looking for a job, job seeking. You're going to get support with maybe getting a pardon, or now they're called a record suspension, so that you can put that part of your life behind you. And you're going to get help with all kinds of other things too, like, you know, just social connection, housing, any other things you need to move your life forward and contribute to your community.
All right. So we have to go to a break, but we will be back. Hope in the 6, social issues and public awareness.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. May your dreams all come true. Happy birthday to you.
refuse to promote, report on anything negative in the community.
Yo, I've been going through stages, through changes, the same old. I gotta turn these pages onto the next, these cages with trapped souls with no time to evolve, but still the world revolves. Trapped inside these walls, I wanna free myself from it all, from the pain, from the fear, from the rain, from the tears, from the lost years and dreams shattered, hearts broken. Does it really matter? Does it really count? Thoughts scattered. How do I break this pattern? How do I stay committed? I have made mistakes, I admit it. I beat myself up with it. Won't talk about it, it's forbidden. Can't undo that I did it. It's my story, I'ma spit it. Yo, I wanna make it, I have never quit it. I wanna take it, but the treasure's hidden. All these rappers coming in the game make me wonder why I'm even spitting. Who the hell am I kidding? With all the news I've been getting, all this bad news I've been getting, all the negativity I let in. Get out the way or you're not gonna grow. Work so hard and got nothing to show. Living in doubt about what's gonna happen, but you never know for sure. But when God calls and you're not ready, either way you gotta go. Be still, take it slow. There's so much more that we don't know. Hope is real.
Welcome back to Hope in the 6. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and we have John Howard Society representatives, Safiyah and Christin. Blessings. I appreciate the information. I want to give a big shout out to the Ink Pusher. The lyrics, that's called Bars for Bars. You know, those lyrics for those who behind bars. So, and in the music world, rap is called bars when you got like a certain amount of flow and it's hot. They call it bars, man, bars. So he giving some solid information about his perspective and his life and his struggles. You know, and what I like about it, he mentioned God. You know, to talk about the Creator, because a lot of time we depend on ourselves, and sometimes there's external. You know what I mean? You definitely have to acknowledge that. But I appreciate him. And the Ink Pusher, shouts out to him again. Bars for Bars. We talked about a lot of stuff off camera, and I always say, hold on, we got to let these people know. It's good to tell me, but I guess I definitely want everybody out there to know, you know, and sometimes that thunder, the passion you said, when you say now it's not even, so if, you know what I mean? But anyway.
We're still excited.
Go ahead. So guess what happened? I want you to talk about, because we were talking about like solutions and me being in a situation. So what you said off camera, let's go ahead and revisit that.
Sure. So at John Howard, we also want to have resources for individuals. So one thing that we're coming out with, and it's not out yet, so I'm plugging future things. But it'll be up on our police record hub when we finish it. But it's a resource that you can pull up on your phone and kind of help you with information about how to go for an interview when you have a police record.
Right.
So kind of what you might be confronted with in terms of questions, recommendations on how to answer those questions,
Right.
you know, how to frame the issue, how to talk about the fact that you do have a police record, and so helpful tips and tricks. And so we're doing information for individuals with records, and then we're also on the other side sort of encouraging employers and the volunteer sector to adopt rights-based policies around police record checks as well, so that individuals have a fair chance and know what they're getting into when they go for an opportunity at some of these places.
Okay. And we're in a digital realm at time in life, right? Point in life where everything's digital. I mean, Uber, your hand like this, and you don't have to call no more. So everything is digital. So I definitely appreciate that because now it's more accessible. A lot of people don't want to sit in nobody's office or hearing lectures, and even if it's for their own good. You know, so when they could have it it is actually, you're giving them control. Right. So now they could go on and they're digitally doing this and doing it themselves.
Yeah, on the way to the job interview, you can just go there.
It's pretty good. And that's definitely important. So I love to see we're evolving and adopting new ideas, you know, the young, fresh minds and technology. All is to our advantage because we need the help, all the help we can get. So even like me, my clients, I get a lot of them through social media. Right? But I have offices and I have connections with probation offices and social services, which they are sending clients as well, but digital world. I throw it on there and then people contact me direct. It's no middleman, no nothing. So it's very important if we use it to, you know, wisely, right? So we coming down. So I want to give you opportunity to talk a little bit more about what I want to explore is actually you're getting to that level, right? I want to talk about, I don't want it to be just politically correct. I don't want to be robotic. I want to talk about passion. I want to talk about those things because people need to know that you love what you do, right? I mean, you can't do your job if you don't love it and it comes from within, right? I love what I do. So if I love what I do, I could be the best at it, right? So you didn't just start as an executive. You had to be somewhere, right? Yeah. So tell me about a little bit about your education, how you like what you were doing in school, and then you know how you landed at John Howard Society. Talk to us.
I took criminology at first in school.
Okay.
And I was the first person in my family to go to university, and I was intrigued by criminology because I come from a family background that's not perfect. And so I just
could have fooled me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It intrigued me, and it felt meaningful to me and purposeful to my personal life. And so when I was in school, heard about John Howard Society. They talked about it there, and I was intrigued by that. So I decided I would try to volunteer there.
Okay.
And I actually volunteered at the John Howard Society of Toronto. They gave me my start.
Okay.
And I just fell in love with the work, and I never left.
Okay. And then now you're an executive, eh? All right. Work your way up. So talk to me about you now, like your passion and the work you do and how you got there.
Sure. So I went to law school a couple years ago, and I was always interested in criminal law and criminal justice. But throughout law school and throughout other experiences, you know, I saw a lot of the issues within our criminal justice system, and was really passionate about it. Loved to talk about it and learn about it. But I wanted an opportunity to look at it instead of working within it necessarily, to look at it at a more systemic level.
Okay.
So I interned with the John Howard Society of Ontario one summer during law school and really enjoyed that experience. It was exactly what I was hoping for in terms of my learning and where I wanted my career to go. And then luckily I was able to get a position after I had articled and finished school. Then I got a position with the provincial office, and so I'm excited to be there. It's really fun.
And now you're here. This is good. And now we're on Hope in the Six.
Yeah.
This show is primarily about what people are doing to help people in Toronto. But John Howard Society is everywhere, of course. Ontario overall, you know. But we focus on what people are contributing to society, because you look on the news, you hear somebody got shot, and a lot of the crime rate is really getting high in Toronto, you know. After the year of the gun, you know, we're seeing a lot of negative things, but we want to talk about what resources are out there, you know, what's there. Now we have this trailer in front, specifically in front of Toronto South. hopefully we could get more hubs or things in certain marginalized neighborhoods, you know, that is more accessible, you know. But John Howard Society on a whole is doing very good, and we want you guys to keep up the good work. And I hope for you guys, you know, to stay in connection with me. You know what I mean? Let this be a beginning of a wonderful relationship, because I think we have to work together. No one is an island, right? We have to work together, and we have to hear each other ideas, share each other thoughts, and come up with proper solutions, because no one could come up with the direct answers. So we need to hear from everyone. That's why on this show we'll have now professional capacities, and then we will have now those who are victim of circumstances, who have committed crimes, who are trying to change their lives around, those who have changed their lives around. So with that said, what are your links? Or was it just that website? Or I mean, you guys, John Howard Society should be everywhere, right? So what's this?
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Check us out on Twitter. This is our John Howard Ontario Twitter handle.
Okay.
Ontario. And you can also check out, like, if you want to see what local offices are doing and programming in the community, you can check out our Instagram at JHS York Region.
Okay, you out there.
And thank you also for what you're doing. It's really inspiring and positive, and have a lot of respect.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. We're really happy to be here.
All right.
Great.
Thanks for coming. Safiyah, Husein, and Christin, God bless you. Thank you for watching. I want you guys to support positivity and let that go viral. Hope in the 6th. God bless.
I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm gonna be okay. I will fear no evil, that will my rod and my staff. I'm gonna be okay. Thou preparest a table before me in front of my enemies. I'm gonna be okay. Thou anointed my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. All on my shoulder, I'm a soldier, thought I told you. But with Jehovah, so nobody can test. Every day of my life, I'm blessed. Yes.